Welcome to the Group Home Riches podcast. If you have the desire to be your own boss, create your own schedule, and become financially free while at the same time helping people in need, then you've come to the right place. At GroupHomeRiches.com, we teach people exactly like yourself how to get started in the group home business. And on this podcast, you're going to hear their stories firsthand. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Group Home Riches podcast. I'm excited for today's guest. Just got a kind of a random email the other day, and Evie is like, "Hey, I was at Gold Course a couple years ago. Here's what I've been doing. TLDR, she's basically a rock star." Yeah, built what sounds like an amazing portfolio, a ton of accomplishments. We just did a little pre-warm up. I didn't get too much information, and I'm excited to hear the whole story. So, Evie, thank you for coming on and welcome.
Hey, thank you for having me. I'm so excited. Y'all were the foundation of my launch into the group home industry. So it's honestly like a blessing to even be on this podcast with y'all.
Love to hear it. You're the reason why we do it. And the man himself that put everything together, Mr. Andy Rothschild, is joining us as well.
Hey, Brandon, thanks for putting this on. Evie, yeah, this is going to be fun getting to know you.
Andy, when you were putting all this stuff together, like 10 years ago, did you ever think you'd have people making the news and
I didn't. No, this is why, like Evie was just saying. I mean, it's kind of a blessing on all fronts. It's pretty cool.
cool. So, Evie, can't wait to hear about the the portfolio, your success, these stories, etc. But before we get into all that, talk about like the beginning. What were you doing? What were you doing before you found Group Home Riches? What's your background? And then I always like to hear, what made you get into, group homes? Why were you searching that instead of just typical real estate investing and stuff like that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So Group Home Riches came at a perfect time in my life. Originally, at 8 years old, I was diagnosed with Asperger's, which is autism, and also dyslexia, dysgraphia. So school was very hard and I hated it. I was in, at the time, like in a special ed class just because I was so far behind in schooling. And then I was able to test out of it in middle school when I went to high school, right? So since I was younger, I always had the passion volunteering with the homeless population, working with the special needs. When I was 13, I used to babysit a autistic child and I would get paid like $75 for 4 hours. And it was like a summer job. So it was definitely an easy way to make money as a 13-year-old. And this is just something I've always been passionate about to do. I just had no idea where to begin. And of course, in my early teen years, when I was like 19, I started a little shelter for young adults. But once I got pregnant with my first child, I kind of put my dream on the back burner until I turned 25, and that's when I found you guys. And I was Googling how to open up a group home. I was searching everywhere. I went to other sites, and I felt like y'all's model for like someone that's just beginning was the best model to start with to get your feet wet, to make sure this is going to be the industry for you. So I purchased the course probably like towards the end of 2020, beginning of 2021. It's a little fuzzy there. And I took action, and I am going to say I rushed through the course. And one of the main things I'll talk about is doing the market research. And that's one thing I didn't do in the beginning. So like ultimately my first unlicensed home I opened in Cleveland, Texas. It did fail tremendously because I didn't do any market research. But then my second home was a major success, and I started it in my own personal home. Um, so that was the beginning of it, right?
As you mentioned, we do hammer that point in our
Yeah.
content, and it's obviously not required to do the market research ahead of time. You could definitely go out and find a
Mhm.
property, purchase it or lease it and get it ready and everything. But yeah, why don't you go into why uh, why we recommend, doing your marketing and stuff first.
Yeah, so I definitely recommend and why y'all recommend it. It's just because so that way you have a foundation of like what population you could serve, the overhead cost, and having like a wait list going, right? So when I did mine, I should have done it in the city of Houston. I did mine in the city of Cleveland, which is Cleveland, Texas, in the middle of nowhere. And I think I just got so excited. I just wanted to start. So I totally like skipped over a lot on the course and I just dove in head first. But because I did that, I did learn a lot. So the next home I did, which was my personal home, we started renting out a room in the back, and then we also started taking in seniors who like had nowhere to live. Like it was crazy. There was this huge pandemic going on where there was nowhere for seniors to live, right? Like they were homeless on the streets of Cleveland in this small little town in the middle of nowhere. And then we weren't getting a lot of support in Cleveland for what we were doing. So at that time, I entered into the real estate investing world. And we bought like 6 homes at once in San Antonio. And that's really where we took off into our group home market. So it's just market research to me is like the key before you go anywhere. Like before you buy the house or rent it, definitely do your market research and get a wait list going because then it's just up from there.
Yeah, and the reason we do that, again, you don't have to. It's just what works for most people. I think kind of the misconception is that you have to have all this startup money in order to get a property first and get it set up and then just keep it vacant while you do your marketing. Um, so the reason we recommend doing that are for people that, that don't want to waste money on a property that's sitting, you pay your rent or your mortgage. And plus, I'll give it to you. Most people aren't confident. Most people aren't confident enough to go and get the property until they've got like some type of proof of concept. They've talked to people. They see that there's demand. So, uh, I love the risk tolerance there. You were able to
Yes.
like, yeah, forget it. I'm getting a property. I'm gung ho. Most people aren't like that. To kind of rewind a little bit, were you? Did you have like startup, a lot of startup capital and stuff like that? Or were you just kind of bootstrapping it?
I was honestly bootstrapping it with my own home. With the first home, I did find a real estate investor who was like all down for the model. And I said, hey, this house has been on the market. So for one, at the time with the first home, let me get ahead of myself. For the first home, I didn't know anything about real estate. I had just entered the real estate market. Like my first real estate deal was buying my own home, right? So I was still completely new. And I saw that one of the things y'all were teaching, like go for the homes that have been on the market for a long time, right? So I did exactly what you said to do. We went after the home that was on the market for leasing. And I said, hey, I want to try this type of housing down. Would y'all give me like a 3 months lease just to try it out to see if it worked? And you could upcharge me on the rent a few $100s, right? So that's how I was able to get the first house. And what was so cool is the home was like a model home. So it was already like furnished and he didn't charge me extra for it. So it was like a win-win for all cases. So I really just had to pull up the first month's rent and like a little deposit. Even though that first home didn't do good, that was my fault. My personal home, did amazing, right? I did something called a host home where I was getting paid like 3,500 for one client that was pretty self-independent.
Okay. And that came through like the marketing connections?
Yes, it came through a community-based provider in Texas. So basically, this is working with people that have intellectual developmentally delayed disabilities. So, like, have you ever seen the movie Forrest Gump or Radio?
Oh yeah.
So it's like with those guys, right? They're super high functioning. One of our guys even worked part time and he walked to work and we just had to like get him a ride to the doctor's appointments. And it was tax free. Like it was considered a stipend. So that was like one of our first clientels was through the provider.
Beautiful. Yeah, you guys, you never know what type of opportunities and programs are out there until you do start casting that net. Is in my opinion, that's what I've seen as work.
Yes, and especially when we grew to San Antonio, it was crazy on how many placements we got in our first home, that were independent, that they were willing to share a room for like $750, just because the cost has gone up so much and they didn't want to be homeless. And then also too, like we made partnerships with different homeless shelters where they'll pay for like 3 months of their rent and they'll even provide a free bread. So it was pretty awesome to see the growth because we first started in San Antonio with 6 homes. The beginning of the year, we bought all the homes subject to, and we had investors. So it was me and a couple of other guys that were just these young people in their 20s, mid and late 20s, just getting out there and just going for it. And now we have 12 homes in San Antonio. So it's
Wow.
pretty awesome.
That is super awesome.
Good,
Yes.
a good lesson in kind of failing forward. That's something Andy, me and you have been talking a lot about, like just through the recent podcasts, right?
Absolutely. You just got to put your head down and keep going. Pull up that chart if you have it from our conversation with Virgil the other day.
Emotional. Yeah. Evie, you're gonna relate to this. Have,
Oh,
have you
excited.
ever heard of this?
No, what is it? Emotional cycle of changes?
Yeah, this is something that we were me and Andy have always like we kind of had this idea in our head, and a recent podcast was just like, yeah, it's called this. So, uninformed optimism. You're pumped up from watching the gold course and things, and then you go and purchase a property. Informed pessimism. Man, maybe I should have done marketing first. Like the reality sets in, right? And
Yeah.
then stage three, the valley of despair, like oh, like this doesn't work, or no one wants to live in this type of housing. That's the type of stuff that maybe going through your mind, and most people quit at that point. So.
Wow.
Yeah, informed optimism. All right, what you did, you went back. Hey, let me like regroup. Oh, I should
Mhm.
have done marketing first. Let's go through it again. Hey, I got a couple people in my personal home. It's working. And
Yeah.
fast forward, I have a real estate empire.
Yeah, I mean, it was like honestly, what I did, I know this isn't on there, but like on stage 2, when I kind of like was messing up learning, I was like, all right, God, what do you want me to do? Right? Because I'm a very Jesus person. I was like, look, I'm gonna try this again. All right, let me take it back.
Yeah,
Right. And I mean, my first home that was successful, I was making 10,000 tax free with 3 clients as a host home. And then because of that, I was able to quit my 9 to 5 job, where at the time I was a behavior technician and a DSP for big corporations that worked with the special needs. So from there, I was just all in it. I'm like, I know I could optimize this way of group homes to make more wealth and to also make a difference. So, further down the line, I opened up my nonprofit because to me, I was like, all right, I have all these real estate. Now I'm going to rent my real estate to my nonprofit so I can make some passive because it's not just me on the real estate side. I have partners too, right? It's like a corporation. So, did I tell you we're also in other states too? We have a duplex in Columbus, Georgia, and we have a home in Atlanta, and we have 2 homes in Florida and 1 home in Wisconsin. And we all start the group home riches model first before we do the licensing because the licensing model takes a long time, right? So in the meantime, so the house isn't sitting vacant, we have the unlicensed group home model to pay the overhead for the mortgage.
There was so much to unpack just in that last like minute that you said.
Mhm.
So first let's rewind because we skip over it sometimes. We don't always talk about like the financial stuff because everyone wants to help their community and like become entrepreneurs, and we talk about like the logistics and the business stuff. But that was a pretty powerful stage four that you just said, some informed optimism. When you started in your personal home, you ended up at one point you were bringing in 10K just from your personal home.
Stipend, tax
Yeah.
free.
So I
Yeah.
want I want you guys to really to the listeners, I want you to marinate on that. So Evie, it's not like she didn't start with a bunch of investors and a bunch of
Mhm.
duplexes and things like that. She actually probably ended up like losing money on that first property. A little
I
bit of
did.
mess. Yeah, but
It's
that's
okay. It
fine.
paid
It's
off.
fine. But yeah, she started. Then she came back to the drawing board and was like, "All right, let me go back. Oh yeah, there's supposed to be marketing before you go invest a bunch of money." And yeah, she bringing in 10K just from her personal home and a little bit of marketing. So I want you guys to really marinate on that. Think of the power of this business model, and then if you guys want to get really pumped up, you know, extrapolate to the point where Evie did just high level, like how many properties do you have kind of in the portfolio that you're either managing or like partners in? Just total number.
Total, let's see, we have 12 in San Antonio, 2 in Cleveland, 13, 14, 3. Do you count? So a duplex, this is what my partners we keep going back and forth. We're like, a duplex is one home, right? I see it as two homes because it's cut in half and we own both sides. So to me, I feel like it's two homes because we have two homes in Columbus. So that's 13, 14. So Columbus is 15, 16, and then Atlanta 17. And then Florida is 2, 18, 19, and then Wisconsin is 1, so 20.
I mean, you got to be so proud of yourself. Like,
It
I'm,
did take
I,
a
you've
lot.
got to be number one, excited, number two, proud of yourself, your parents, your family. They've got to be just on cloud nine knowing what you've done. It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird, my family dynamic, background is weird. So my grandma, she lost her home and we were able to take her in. And so now she's actually living in one of our senior livings. And I honestly don't think I would have even been able to do a senior living if I didn't first step out on faith and do the group home riches model first. So I think to me, that's like the biggest flex is like I'm able to house someone who raised me and whose kids suck and didn't take care of her. And I was able to take her in and put her into one of my senior livings. So I think to me, that's like the biggest blessing to showcase to my kids because my kids are really involved in it too. Um, but I think it's awesome. I mean, we won awards from San Antonio, we won awards from Liberty County, and now from Cleveland. And our goal is to be in every state.
I mean, unbelievable. Unbelievable. Yeah. We used to talk about there was a company called DNS Residential Services. Brandon, type them in, see if they're still around. They, similar to you, they started off, they had like, I think in Austin, they had like three or four group homes, set up a few more, set up a few more, and then they started expanding like you. And
Mhm.
then I think they set up one or two in Tennessee, and then eventually they got bought out by a private equity firm up in Dallas. And, but it was, I think you guys hear Brandon and I say this all the time. Most people are going to overestimate what they can get done in a couple of months, and they're going to underestimate what they can do in 5 to 10 years. And Evie, look at you. You're like, when did you say you started this? 2020?
At the end of 2020, beginning 2021.
Yeah. I mean, here we are, give or
Yeah.
take 4.5 years later. I mean, the amount of momentum that you've got behind you right now, it's incredible. And
Yeah.
you look back and you're like, holy Toledo, look what I've built over the last 4 years. It's incredible.
It really is, and we're even working on closing a project in Detroit, Michigan, an apartment complex, a 17 unit, and we're going to partner up with a home health agency to help run it with the
Yeah,
care. So it's just blowing because um, I started with an LLC and now I'm learning to utilize the nonprofit. There's so much more grants you could get through the nonprofit and utilizing the real estate through the for profit. So I could still leave it for my kids and my partner's kids. They could work together to grow it. So it's,
I have a question for you, Evie, because a lot of people when they're just starting out, they get drawn to that. They're like, hey, like I want to get a nonprofit and I want to get like government grants and stuff. And if I just if I just had like a couple $100,000 to work with, then I could get started.
yeah, you don't need that.
Yeah. So does it help does it help the fact that you've proven yourself by doing it on your own with the unlicensed route? Does that help you in the process of, getting a nonprofit set up and people on your board and
Yeah.
then getting the grants?
Yeah, because to me, right, let me rephrase that to you. Some of my homes are for profits. Let me just put that on record. Not all of them are through the nonprofit.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
um, you have to learn how to crawl before you learn how to run, right? The nonprofit, I was only able to really understand how to utilize a nonprofit and actually how to get respect in the community from originally starting it as a for profit. Because also, too, like, when I first met my real estate partners, and we literally just met off of a Facebook group, it was crazy and we went into deal. Like if I was to tell them, hey, we're going to do this as a nonprofit, they would have been like, we're here to make money. Right. So we first started as a for profit. So depending on the income levels, we still do it as a for profit. And our nonprofit will piggyback off of the for profit. So, like, we have a food pantry, right? We have homeless outreach. So, like, our nonprofit, what I've learned, puts our foot in the door into the community to trust us more so they could actually see like we're not full of it, like we're actually serving the community and helping. And then, like, if the client is paying more than $2,500 a month, they're going to my for profit, because if I have to refinance that home they're in to pull out equity to go open up another home, then I could show proof on paper, like, look, this nonprofit's making money, right? And also, too, if they're lower income, they're going to be under the nonprofit. So it's all about what type of clientele you're working with. Um, but yeah, I mean, do y'all have any nonprofits too, or y'all all for profit?
We
we don't. No, like everything that I've always run has always been for profit. Now, do we partner up with nonprofits?
Mhm.
Absolutely. I mean, we work with, yeah, Catholic Charities, Endeavors, all of them, Families in Crisis, you name it, we work with
That's
them.
awesome.
They're the ones that are sending us all of their clients. But, I've thought about setting up a nonprofit, but most of the time I was like, it's just not worth it. That being said, I don't have your level of expertise in your mind either. So, could I have done very well setting up a nonprofit? Probably. But my first priority all along was I've got to have a sustainable, profitable business in
Yeah,
order for this thing to even survive. So that's
exactly.
kind of the route that I've always gone, and really that's the route that we tell everybody to take, at least at the very beginning. Now, once they're profitable, once they're making money, if they want to go down a nonprofit path, by all means. But at the very beginning, Brandon and I were big believers in just making sure that you can run a business profitably. Because if you can't run a business profitably, it doesn't matter how great of a capital raiser you are for your nonprofit, it's not going to survive.
Yeah. Plus the nonprofit, like I wouldn't suggest to do until you're making a lot of money, right? Because the nonprofit does come in handy for tax purposes. So one of the avenues that my real estate partners and I do is we'll purposely get houses licensed, right? And so, like, when we mean by license, we mean Medicaid funded. So, like, a low end client is bringing in 5,300 per month on a low end, guaranteed money coming in. So we'll purposely get at least 4 homes, four clients each on a low end, bringing in 5,300, and on a yearly revenue, there it's over $1 million, right? And we'll sublease that company out to someone else to oversee it as like a property management company where we only get like maybe 10% of that, or we'll sell the company but not the homes. And we'll keep the homes on like a maybe 10-year long-term lease agreement.
Yes. Yeah. Do you mind
Because
talking to everybody about that? Because this is something that I always try to put into people's minds. Like these businesses aren't just about cash flow, they're worth actual money.
yeah,
So
they're worth.
can you talk about that?
Yeah, no, most definitely. So this is going back to my for profit, all right, just so no one's confused. So I will purposely go with my business partners um, and go buy homes. First started off the unlicensed group home route, group home riches route. And then while we're waiting, get it licensed. Since I'm so used to the game of getting clients filled in, I already know marketing, I already know the politics of the game. I could fill up homes quickly, right? Especially for the IDD and mental health. It doesn't matter what state, as long for Texas, for example, we could fill up 4 homes for IDD clients within 6 months and then sell that company, but keep the real estate assets, and everyone is happy. These big corporations want to buy the smaller companies, especially in Texas. We're about to boom even more with that whole property tax thing going on. So, and then with unlicensed homes too, right? Like I'm helping one of my mentees right now sell her unlicensed home. She doesn't own it. Let me just put it out there. She doesn't own the home. She's leasing it, but I was able to help her fill up her home. It's unlicensed. And I told her, sell it for like 20K, easy money to be made. It didn't take much to get that house filled up. Nice home, decent area. Rent is like $1,700 a month. Each client is paying about 1,200 for a shared room. So, I mean, and she has the occupancy permit for 10. So it's easy math. Why wouldn't someone want to buy it for 20K? All you have to do is keep up with it and collect your monthly rent. Everyone's independent. So this is a way to make, in my opinion, to make a short-term investment with long-term returns in finances. So that's just my opinion. But my nonprofit is for long term, right? Like I can't sell any of the businesses under my nonprofit or the programs, but my for profit is to, as we like to call in sales, we got to keep feeding the dragon. We want to go bigger. We want to get bigger. Our foundation is the real estate investments. At the end of the day, that's what we are. We're real estate investors here to make a
Yes.
difference.
Love
So,
that.
um, but yeah, I mean, some people don't understand that model. They're like, well, why would you sell it? Obviously, it's not making you that much money. Well, it's because I know I could multiply this in every state I go to. So, like I said, our next state is going to be Michigan and Ohio. That's in our next forecast.
Which is interesting because whenever we're in the school group or having these webinars or whatever, I'm always talking about the Midwest because if you look around the US, those are probably the single most affordable areas in the
Yeah.
entire country, right? So look, 10 years ago, San Antonio, super cheap. Waco, super cheap. Austin, super cheap. You can literally in Austin, Texas, which is probably like the biggest boom bust market in all of Texas, you could
Mhm.
buy little houses in, kind of the C minus parts of town for like
Yeah.
$80,000. You can't do that anymore. So
Yeah.
the only area that's really left in the US is Ohio, is Michigan. I mean, maybe there's some other areas, but if I'm looking at it, I would say that those are probably the two best areas to buy. And it just so happens that's where you're doing your hunting, which is amazing.
Yeah. And do you want to know the secret to why we're looking in Ohio and in Michigan?
Tell me.
The land banks. the regentrification. I think I'm pronouncing it wrong. Regentrification. I don't know. But the land banks of it where you could buy these rundown homes. The cities want to make their areas look nicer. So they'll sell you a home for pennies on the dollar. You could buy a rundown home, big ass 5 to 6 bedrooms, for like 20,000, 10,000. One of my partners, Remy Jules, is the one who taught me about utilizing the land bank. So we're actually going after quite a bit of properties right now in Cleveland, Ohio, and in Detroit, Michigan, because of these homes, right? And there's a huge need. I mean, I don't know if y'all saw what happened in Detroit, Michigan with the whole layoffs of that one program, where they teach people how to go to school. Um, what is it called? I can't remember. The workers job corps.
Okay.
So
What happened? I don't know much about it.
yeah, so there's like 300 people that became homeless because they shut down the job corps
Oh,
facility in Detroit. And then also too, um, did you see about that mom who there was like no shelters for her to go and she had money, she just couldn't get into a income-based housing because there was none available, and like her kid died in the car. Like it was just some crazy stuff going on in Detroit, and because so much craziness is going on, the city is pumping out funds to help with long-term housing. So the group home riches style is going to be the norm, I believe, in the future of Detroit. Like this is going to be normal, right? Of the housing that's provided.
So this is what you were talking about with the jobs, the Job Corps, like yeah,
Yeah.
hundreds of people.
Yeah. It's sad. I know there's a committee that we're going to be working on getting on where multiple group homes are coming together to just rent out rooms. Right. Because that's another thing too, is I feel like renting out rooms and that's it, just renting out a room to one person. People don't understand they can make money off of that too. Like if they have the right home and they're the right overhead expense is making sense. To me, that's like the easiest type of way to start. I know in San Antonio, in our medical area homes in the Woodlawn area, we'll rent out a room for like 850, and our mortgage is only like 1,800. And we have like an 8 bedroom, and we'll do that in. And to me, that's like easy passive income, right? And then we also have a good contract with the VA where they'll pay for, I think it's the VA HUD or VASH program. They'll pay like 850 to 1,200 for a room for a veteran that's fully independent. And this is offered in every state. It's just learning how to tap into it.
It's the HUD VASH
The
program.
HUD VASH. Yeah, I always mess it
But
up.
the fact that you mess it up is what I love about it. Did you go
Mhm.
through and read all the stipulations that it takes to work with the HUD VASH program and
Hell
memorize
no.
all that or anything like that? Or are
No,
you
I
just
just
focused on out there networking and talking to people?
like I picked up the phone, smiled, and dial, right?
Let's
ABC,
go.
always be closing. Let's get this. We don't got time for the reading. I hate reading. I'm dyslexic. Uh, but that's all it takes is just picking up the phone and to me, it's like if you sound scared on the phone, they're not going to take you serious. But if you sound like you're determined and you know what you're talking about somewhat, then they'll respect that. Um, and just putting yourself out there and just getting known to, like, you're not trying to do this just to make money. Like if you get seen as I want to make a difference, I want to help people, you give that energy out, that energy is going to get returned to you.
It's unreal. Yeah, 100%. And also, I think it starts with this. I think you have
Mm.
to be motivated to help people. If you are just in it for like passive income or as an investment, uh, maybe do it at like the real estate investor side. Look for somebody like Evie to partner with. But
I'm ready.
yeah, if you're just starting out, like if you're looking for passive income and like you don't have capital to invest or anything like that, the business is not going to be for you. I don't think you'll
Yeah.
business very quickly.
Hmm.
When you started out like networking, talking to people in the industry, like we call them referral sources, right? Just to keep things
Yeah.
nice and easy. What was their reception like when you would just, I assume you kind of told your story, your background. This is what I've done in the past. This is why I want to do it. What was their reception like when you started reaching out to them as a newbie before all the real estate investing and stuff like that?
So I had to train myself and I learned as I grew on in this type of field. Um, in the beginning, I would say, oh, I have beds available, right? People don't care you have beds available. They want to
Mhm.
know what do you have to offer to help them solve a problem? So I stopped saying I have beds available and I started saying I have this amazing housing program available for people who are on a fixed income, who can't afford to make 3 times the rent, who can't afford a first month's deposit. I start almost being a chameleon to the person I'm talking to on the phone, right? So if I'm talking to the Veterans Affair, I'm a chameleon. My program is to help veterans. If I'm talking to seniors, I'm a chameleon. My program is to help fixed income seniors that are facing homelessness because they can't find affordable housing because they don't make 3 times the rent or there's a wait list for the housing authority, right? So it's in the beginning, I did suck at the marketing part, even though my background is sales. So I learned it as a go to fix my pitch based off of the person I'm speaking with and their type of role in their community, right? Um, so I think that's like the best advice I could give to someone is you're not selling beds, you're selling a role of fixing someone else's problem in the community. You're selling a program. Right. So you're the solution to the problem is basically what I would sell on the phone.
Yes, yes. And on that note, one thing that we always say, and this is in the gold course,
Mhm.
cast a wide net, right? Don't pigeonhole yourself. Whoever
Yes.
you're talking to, whether it's the VA,
Hmm.
pitch that you're out there helping people out that are disabled vets. If you're
Yeah.
pitching another group, pitch that. So you don't want to pigeonhole yourself. You've got to cast a
Yes.
wide net because
Yeah.
frankly, there's all types of people out there that are in need of affordable housing. I mean, that's like the single most important thing. So, to your point, you got to be a chameleon, as you said. Depending on you
Yeah.
have to craft your message depending on who you're speaking to. The fundamental core thing that you're trying to solve is affordable housing. But unfortunately, when you're speaking with those gatekeepers, they only want to hear certain words.
Yeah, of course. That's why I notice, like, if I say, oh, I have different programs to help them, my organization, this is before I did the nonprofit, by the way. I would just say my organization helps those experiencing a housing crisis um, get placed into rapid rehousing or into emergency housing. And then this is one of the key lines that I started noticing works. I even tell them, because this is true, I started learning how to do the case management part. I tell them we even get them on the wait list for long-term housing with the housing authority. And then the housing authority, when I reached out to them to let them know what we're doing, at first they were very hesitant. And then I let them know, like, hey, this is what we're doing. This is the program we have. This is saving lives because if they don't come to us, they're not going to be able to go to a homeless shelter, right? For the seniors. Like, I don't know if y'all know this. Like, if there is any type of mobility issues, 90% of the homeless shelters in Texas and in other states will not take them. So they have nowhere to go, right? So I think once I broke it down to the housing authority, they got it. They're like, okay, we'll start sending people that we can't take in. We'll start sending them your way as a referral just to make connection with you because we know they have income. So,
Yes.
and I feel like people are scared of rejection, right? You're going to get told no. but you're also going to get told yes. Only the yes matters. The no is just a flyby. Don't even acknowledge it. Keep going.
That's a banger. I want you guys all to rewind that and get that into your brain. Ignore the no's. Sometimes don't even acknowledge the no's. You could keep going. Like how many people would have quit when the housing authority was hesitant, you
Oh
know?
my gosh, all the time. People always post it on our Facebook group, on Group Home Step by Step. They're always like, well, we tried the housing authority. They said they don't do that. Okay, well, did you explain why you're doing your program? Right. So it's like people just want easy stuff given to them. They don't want to put effort. So you really have
Yeah,
to,
you have to work for all this stuff. That's
yeah.
the other core theme that we're always trying to pound into people's heads. You have to, if you want something in life, you got to deserve it. You got to work for it.
Yeah, you definitely have to work for it. And then I always say, you know, I don't know if y'all believe in God or not, but you definitely have to have a really good relationship with God to guide you because a lot of these connections, I felt like it was like a godly doing. Like it was definitely, this was my purpose. This was the reason I was put here, right? Like I always joke around and say, I've been trying to move out of Cleveland, Texas since I became successful in San Antonio. And God does not want me to leave this hellhole in this city. Because every time we try to leave, it's like, okay, we have 6 people that need somewhere to live and they have income, but nobody wants to help them to go reinstate their disability. So that's how we were able to buy a second home because I was like, all right, God, I'm selling this home here. I'm done with Cleveland. I'm just going to focus on San Antonio. And then literally, like the day after, 6 people called our homeless hotline. They're like, hey, we're disabled. We've been living in this homeless camp in Cleveland near downtown, and we have money. We just need help getting our benefits reinstated because we don't have an address to show proof we have somewhere to live, so we can't renew our disability benefits. It's insane on what's going on here in the crisis in Texas. So we're
Can you go into that a little bit more? Tell me a little bit about that.
Um, so there is a huge homeless crisis going on in our senior population and in our disabled population. Mind you, and we made the news for this, right? So one of the things we made the news on Channel 2 News for Cleveland, Texas is we rescued 2 seniors getting evicted out of their apartment complexes because their rent increased, but their disability and social security benefits didn't increase with it. Right? Like it was literally like $100 over of what they needed to be making to stay at these apartments. And every month they're $100 behind because their whole check was going to it. So, because of that, Channel 2 News came and did an interview with them, and they're like, did you know Houston is surpassing New York on evictions? And most of the people getting evicted are people on fixed income. So that's the crisis. The fixed income people cannot go into income-based apartments because there's barely any left,
Yeah.
or there's a 2 to 5 year wait list. All right. So, like, y'all have to remember fixed income, the national average rate for Social Security is like $967. All right. So, for a 1 bedroom apartment, let's just say on a low end is 650, which you could find in the hood on a good day that doesn't have rats in it. You're going to have to make 3 times that rent. You're not going to be able to do it. So I think this is where the Group Home Riches model really comes in to help save lives and to save our seniors and our disabled from being homeless, because that's what we're doing right now. Even though I know I could make $1 million easily off of 4 homes for the special needs population in Texas, right now, one of my main focuses is helping the homeless. And I think this is why I'm getting a lot of recognition for it from different media, because they look me up and they see, oh shit, she knows how to do special needs licensed homes, but yet I'm focusing my attention on helping those in need. I even made my personal home into a short-term shelter. Like we're housing a couple of ladies that are their kids have disability benefits and they're single moms and they just have nowhere to go. One of them is about to give birth. So we partnered up with another nonprofit and they're helping pay for their housing at our shelter. So it's just amazing. Like, I think if you have faith and you want to do the good impact, God is definitely going to provide the pathway for it.
Totally agree.
One of our mottos is the more people you help, the more money you make.
Yeah, I love that. I believe in that.
Um, yeah, I'm flabbergasted. So many places we could go to. So, uh, I'll let you guys like where do you want what do you want to get into, Evie? You've gotten into licensed, you've gotten into real estate stuff. I think one of the main things for people to think about who are maybe they're just beginning is, and you said it, we say it all the time. Hey, learn to crawl before you start trying to run, right?
Yeah.
So, uh, yeah, so learn the basic, learn the basic, group home riches model, unlicensed, doesn't take a lot of money. Then from there you can get into nonprofits, you could get into like real estate investing, you could get into the license
Exactly.
stuff, right? So
Yeah. Exactly. Um, because I think the easiest way to look at it is, and this is, I'm going to get in trouble if my partners watch this. They're going to be like, Evie, don't say that. But it's like you have the unlicensed model where you could make a decent good amount of passive income, right? And then it's less stress. To me, the unlicensed model is definitely less stress as the group home riches way. And then you have the like boarding home model, which is where you could service stack and, charge room and board. And then they could come in through a third party to service stack provider hours through home care agency. And it's not as much money, but it's also like a stepping stone to the next thing. And I think it's like once you've done the group homes riches model, then move on to like the unlicensed boarding home, where it's like a care home type of deal, but it's just a permit, it's not a license. And then once you mastered that, or let's say you're a nurse, right? If you're a nurse or if you're a doctor, if you have medical background, CNA, LVN, or behavior technician, and you feel comfortable enough to say, I'm going to go after the licensing model, um, just know it takes time. Right. So like I know in Texas, you could start in your own home. You don't even need like to go buy a house or rent a home to do the licensing model for IDD and mental health for Texas. But like for other states, your house is sitting. So that's why I like really emphasize learn the group home riches model first before you skip over to the licensing, because your house is going to be sitting and you don't want it to sit and you don't need it to sit. And it doesn't need to sit unless you have no idea of what you're doing for the group home riches model. So I always like to say, y'all have a big part of our foundation and how we were able to grow so fast, because each home we opened was always opened first as a group home riches model, where totally unlicensed, everyone's independent. We're just waiting for a certification to come through for the house. And then we move them out, we put them in another home nearby, and then we just repeat that model, right? So it's pretty awesome.
I love it. Yeah, if I were just getting started out, I would get the gold course. That's like your step-by-step logistics stuff. I would listen to this podcast with Virgil, he is just starting out. He just went through, he just went through this where he almost quit because he was having trouble with the marketing aspects of things like that. So that's a great that's a great way to kind of get in the mindset if you're beginning. And then I would listen to this podcast with Evie. This is something, this could be like your milestone. This is to show what the potential is. So if you can get through those first steps and don't quit here when, someone tells you no, right? Or a couple
Yeah.
people tell you no. Just keep going through this. And after, a couple years, you're going to be shocked at how much how much success you could get. And Evie, you probably still, it's not like it's not always easy, right? You probably still go through
Yeah.
this stuff every single day,
I
right?
definitely do. And I feel like this emotional cycle change, it should be for life because shit happens, right? Like we can't control
Yes.
everything. All
Yeah.
right. Like let's keep it real. So I think this is just, if you could wake up every morning, you're doing good. Just as long as you don't give up, you're going to do good in this model. It's just not giving up because the moment you give up, you never know what you could have accomplished in the future. So.
Yeah, we talk about like yeah, there's passive income. You can make a ton of money, but it's not always gonna be passive. Like
Mhm.
I'm sure you probably have like five stressful things happen to you a day, whether it be like a real estate deal falling through, maybe an issue with like people at the homes, right? So
Yeah, definitely. I think patience is key and everyone is a different type of personality, but I've noticed I'm somewhat nonchalant about things. So like I have my other business partners that are like, "Oh my God, this is gonna happen and this and that." I'm just like, but it hasn't. So why are we figuring out?
Hey, Brandon, does that sound familiar?
yeah, yep, yep, yep. You want to tell some stories relating to that?
Well, I mean, look, I think that I probably fall into the same category as your business partners, where I'm, you know, I get I get nervous about things. Where's the economy headed? What's going on with, with this, with that, with the tenant base? I don't want to, lawsuits, whatever it might be. And I've mentioned things to Brandon even at the beginning of this year. We had that tariff issue and everything else, and things were getting slow on some fronts. And I mentioned some things to Brandon. He's like, "Don't worry, everything is going to work itself out." And
Yeah.
sure enough, a month and a half later, everything has worked itself out. So I do think it's a good combination to have one partner that's a little bit more anal and another partner that's a little bit more relaxed. I've got another partner that's super relaxed about things. Like he don't worry about much, and I'll be mentioning things to him, and it's just like no big deal. Now, my other partner that runs everything on the ground, who Brandon knows, that basically runs all the group homes and hotels and stuff like that. I mean, he's like me times 20. So, it's a good combination.
Yeah, I will say, like, for my unlicensed homes, I'm very nonchalant because there's not a lot of regulations to follow, right? For my licensed homes, I turn on that anxiety switch and I go in there and I'm just like, okay, we're about to pass inspection. What could
Yes.
go wrong? Right? But for the most part, I just have faith in God. I'm like, well, it's gonna get worked out. It's gonna be fine. All right. And I mean, for the one thing we could all agree on, the economy is going to shit. So this living model is going to be needed more than ever. Right.
Wow, Brandon, record that and put it on repeat because
Yeah.
that she sounds like me and it is the absolute truth.
Yeah, Andy's been talking about this for like 10 years. He's been saying it.
Yeah, yeah, probably longer than that. Evie, I used to joke around when I first got into this business. I'm like, I am basically selling life jackets to people
Yeah.
on the Titanic.
No, for real. That's what's going on because y'all, think of it like this. I first started in 2020 when inflation didn't hit us this hard, right? It's 2025 and it's busier now than ever. Inflation is insane. I bought a house in 2020 and within 6 months, the house became worth over $50,000, $60,000 more than what I bought it for. Like, it's crazy how much damage it did to the economy. But um, we're definitely on the Titanic. It is sinking, and we have the life jackets, and we're in the safe boats, or maybe we're dolphins and we're rescuing people.
Yeah, I mean,
I love that.
and this is such an important point to hit on because as things continue to implode and get worse and worse and worse, there is going to be and there will be more people looking for this type of housing. So
Yeah,
Evie's job and our job is to make sure that everybody that is listening to this right now gets in front of where everything is going. You got to get your group home started today because you know where the puck is going. There's going to be more homeless people. There are going to be more people that need affordable housing. You got to be the person. You need to be the solution.
definitely. I mean, did you see what Trump did? He's doing it to where you could only be on Section 8 for 2 years now.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. What I foresee happening, if I am a fortune teller, this is what I would see
Yeah,
happen.
I
The
want to
next,
hear. I want to hear what you're thinking.
the next big thing I know we're working on that I see happening, there's so many single moms with kids where they could just afford maybe 850 a room and they all live in the room together with their kids, right? So we're working on a project right now in Cleveland, Texas, where they're going to be renting a home. We're going to work on getting a home built. And I must say, single moms are one of the most hardworking humans I've ever met. Right. We just took in this lady she's deaf. All right. Let me just say, she's deaf. She's 29 years old. She's 7 months pregnant, has an autistic kid that's 3. And she's hustling, door dashing, and she's showing me she's making money. It's just nobody will take that income serious to rent her an apartment. So that's where we're thinking of building a home, and we're going to be getting it's like a 12 unit apartment complex under wraps, hopefully pretty soon in Houston, where that's going to be our next thing to branch off is targeting the single parent household because they can't make it in this economy. Um,
Yeah, they can't. They can. And interestingly enough, if you go back 50 years ago, before they, took the dollar off the gold standard and everything else,
yes.
you could have, the husband, typically it was the husband back then, 90% of the time, basically one income providing for the entire family, right?
Yeah.
Next thing you know, they debase the dollar. There's dollars no longer backed by gold. It's basically backed by oil. But guess what? Now inflation goes wild, which is
It's
basically the same thing
insane.
that happened in 2020. And all
Yeah.
of a sudden, all the moms have to start going into the workforce, right?
Yeah.
And then you have two you basically have the husband and the wife both working to barely scrape by. Now you're
Yeah.
at the new point to what you're just saying,
Mhm.
where it's impossible. Now it's like families combining with other families to
Yeah.
basically have to live together and afford all their food and their rent and everything else. It's devastating.
And you know who's suffering the most, which is so crazy, is the people on fixed income because their fixed income will never be enough in this economy ever again.
Correct.
It would never be enough. So it's like we're guaranteed clients in our homes. You just have to find them. You have to do the work. And
Yep.
I totally agree with you. Once they took the dollar off the gold, that's why I am planning to. My goal is to retire. I just turned 30 this year, and if I hustle enough, I could probably retire in 5 years, somewhere in Mexico or the Philippines.
Oh, God. I mean, it's like you've read my mind. Where in Mexico?
I love Cozumel, love, love, love Cozumel, and I love Tulum.
Yeah.
I can't speak Spanish to save my life. I do love Mexican men. I married one. My husband's Mexican American, and I just love the culture. So everyone there's so nice, and it's so cheap.
Yes, that's the main thing. It's very inexpensive.
Very inexpensive. I mean, the real estate out there is insanely inexpensive. And you could buy an amazing home with a pool. You could have a nanny, you could have a butler for such a low in price. So I always joke around to people that are like, "Oh, I want to be a millionaire one day." And I'm like, "You might be a millionaire in another country, you just don't realize it."
You
So,
you got it. And funny enough, one of our first clients, who I believe was from up there in the Midwest, Ohio,
Dayton.
Brandon, are you recalling what I'm talking about?
You're
Didn't
talking about
he?
Jose and Dayton.
Yeah, yeah. Didn't he get a couple of group homes up and going, sell them, and move down to Cancun or something?
Exactly.
I love Cancun. Good
Yeah, you
food.
guys should go. It's literally our first podcast ever with Jose. And
Yeah.
he checked in with us recently and he's doing that. He's like retired. I think it might have been Mexico. It was somewhere like that.
Yeah, that's my 5-year goal. I know people they always talk about what's your 5-year goal? To retire. I don't want to work. I see what being in the senior living field, I see how these guys are and I'm thinking, damn, they really worked their whole life to turn 62 and have to live in a group home and like can't even afford housing. Like this sucks. Like I don't
Yeah, it makes no sense. And
yeah.
statistically speaking, if you wind up working your ass off until you're 65, 70 years old,
Mhm.
you actually are gonna die a lot quicker than if you retire early. That if you work your ass
Yeah.
off right now, set up something intelligent, i.e. a group home, get it up and going, and in your case, retire by the time you're 33, 34. In most people's cases, if they're really lucky, they could retire by 50, 55. Guess what? You're going to have a nice quality of life for the next 30 years versus if you work to
Exactly.
65 and you're busting your ass the whole time. Like,
Yeah.
you can look at the data. These people don't last very long after that.
They don't. And then what type of life is that, right? Like I have 3 kids and I live on like a mini farm. Even though I'm not retired, I still don't have to, clock in anywhere. I'm horrible. I'm always late. I was surprised I was even on time for this podcast. Uh,
Thank you.
so
We're honored.
yeah, just so I mean, like the whole idea of having to work for someone ever again, I will hustle my ass off. Like I will never work for anyone ever again. It's just, if I need to take a mental break, I'll book a cruise with my family, or I'll go visit my family in Brazil. Like we don't have to. My kids
Wait,
are,
this is really getting wild. So, is your family really in Brazil?
yeah. So my last name is Portuguese.
Where in Brazil are they from?
So we're actually part of the government in Rio.
Ah, Carioca.
Oh, are you Brazilian too?
Não, eu posso falar.
Look, don't make fun of me. I'm a coconut. I'm brown on the outside, white on the inside. I suck at Portuguese. Bom dia.
Good.
That's awesome.
Andy is the opposite. So if you ever need to learn Spanish, they need to Andy, you want to give him a taste of the street construction shit.
Oh man, she'd have to get her husband on. I could talk to him a little bit.
My husband doesn't know Spanish. He's Mexican American. I know.
Yeah, that's the real funny one. Yeah, when I start speaking as people in Spanish, they're like,
Okay,
"Hold
I
on,
could do
what's?"
Spanish. I could do Spanish. I used to sell cars in Spanish. I've sold houses in Spanish a
Sí,
little
bueno,
bit.
sí, yo, vendo casas también en español con todo el mundo.
Ay,
Um,
Dios mío. Gringo habla muy bueno español.
Evie, I'm telling you, you got to see it on like a real estate project when Andy just walks in and it's just
Oh my gosh. That's like my business partner, Colin. He's on my nonprofit board. He's the whitest boy you could think of. Dirty blonde hair, beautiful hazel eyes. He could speak perfect Spanish. And I'm just like, dude, where did you learn this? I used to date this Mexican girl. She taught me Spanish in college.
oh, that's usually the best way of learning, right?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's funny. But no, I lived in Brazil for a little bit. I don't know Rio very well, but traveled through there, had plenty of fun nights and fun days.
Oh,
And
I bet.
yeah,
It's
I'm a huge Brazil fan. That country's awesome. I'm not sure about the current government, but yeah,
It's totally corrupt. I have my
yes.
citizenship, and so in Brazil, I always joke with my husband. I'm like, look, if you divorce me and take all my money, I'm going to Brazil because I'm set for life. In Brazil, if your family serves in the military, your like great granddaughters will get like a pension type of deal, right? To live in that society at the time of whatever crisis they're in. Even if they're in a crisis, like there is a condo I could live in and get paid a decent living wage just for
Yeah.
being related to my grandpa.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Now, I am not serving in no military, no, but it's pretty cool. Uh, did you end up
That's
marrying someone from Brazil or?
No, no, I didn't, but I started a little business down there and
Oh,
it didn't really go as planned, but my bit because of that business, my business partner at the time wound up meeting a girl and eventually getting married to her. So it worked out. It worked out. And I still got a bunch of friends down there and yeah, it's pretty cool.
that's awesome. Yeah, my dad's from there. Love it. We love going for carnival and everything.
I want
That's
to kind of like expand and like look at the big picture. Evie, you said something like super powerful that I want people to marinate on. You your goal, and it sounds like it's a very realistic goal, is to retire by the time you're 35.
Yeah, so I have 5 years and I'm pretty sure I'm on target. I mean, my kids are still little and I want to still be with them all the time, right? My dream job is to be a stay-at-home mom. As crazy as it is, I'm definitely that's my goal. If I could just be a stay-at-home mom and live somewhere tropical and raise my kids and homeschool them, I'm happy. It was never to build this massive empire, it just came about because I was the main provider at the time, right? So I didn't have a choice.
Just kind of fell into a real estate empire.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, it's crazy how like I started just doing subject to real estate and um how the long-term real estate investors who will give us the capital we're just like, yeah, we're all for it. We see the numbers. It makes sense. But I had to show proof with one house first for them to see how it can make sense. But it's definitely worth it because even though if I retire, we're not selling the real estate. Did y'all catch
correct.
that? Like, we're
Absolutely.
yeah, we're
Yep.
not gonna sell it. If anything, we'll keep growing the real estate, and that's just our passive income. I'm even looking to invest in Canada. I've been doing some research in Canada in the unlicensed field because Canada's Toronto. I'm really interested in doing some type of stuff in Toronto because the housing market there is like insanely expensive. So I don't know. Have you ever thought about Canada?
You know what? I haven't. I do know Canada is, especially Toronto, is super expensive. But yeah, main thing I'm doing is just, focusing on my little area. Um, and then working with people like you. You guys are the ones that inspire me and inspire Brandon to look at look at other areas. But I feel like I got enough on my plate as is.
Yeah, awesome. Are y'all mostly just in Texas?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Just Central Texas area.
Are y'all excited about this property tax thing? Do you really think it's going to make a difference or if it's going
Walk me through what you're hearing because obviously we had the $100,000 homestead exemption. Now I'm hearing rumblings of them potentially eliminating property taxes. I don't really know if that's
Yeah,
accurate. What are you hearing?
I'm hearing they're going to eliminate property taxes. I mean, I feel like we get taxed for every freaking thing. Like, what was the whole thing about the Boston Tea Party? Obviously,
Yeah,
it didn't really work because I'm getting taxed to just breathe air, I feel
yeah,
like.
you're getting taxed to death,
Oh,
correct?
you're gonna get
Yeah.
us all fired up, Evie.
I'm fired up. I mean, shoot, we have a government that's like not the best. I think it's okay. So this is kind of dark humor. Like we have the most disabled government in Texas that's like not for any type of disability reform. To me, it's like mind blowing. I'm like,
Yeah, that's
this
a,
is
that's a very
insane.
interesting point.
Yeah, I'm like, this is insane. This dude won't even pass a bill to build sidewalks on certain parts of schools, and he can't even walk up the stairs. Like, bro, what's going on? Get rid of our taxes at least for property. It's crazy.
If they eliminated property taxes, I mean, we are talking about monumental change, especially for somebody like me. I mean, because my basically all my money disappears to, local municipal governments every
Yeah,
year.
You've kind of like run the numbers on some properties in certain areas where you own it outright and it almost doesn't
Oh
even make.
yeah, I mean, we're talking, in
ridiculous.
certain more expensive areas, I mean, no debt on the stuff and there's literally no cash flow. I mean, we're talking about break even. It's
Yeah,
asinine. It's
no,
absolutely ridiculous. Yeah.
it is ridiculous. And it's like, you don't even have kids going to these shitty schools that we have in
No,
Texas.
you don't. You don't. The people are pulling out. You have, yeah, I mean, you could go and look it up on all the local news outlets and everything else, but you've got parents that are taking their kids out of these schools, whether they're sending them to private, whether they're, basically doing
Yeah,
homeschooling, or
that's what
whether
I
they're
did.
sending them elsewhere. And each and every year, boom, it goes up. Boom, it
It
goes
goes
up.
up
Boom, it
and
goes
it's
up.
like it
You,
goes up and I don't see what the hell is it going towards?
Well, they're
Our,
stealing money, is what they're doing. Like in
yeah,
places like Godley, Texas, I kid you not, the average home value is like $170,000, and the average home has got close to $200,000 worth of student bond debt or school bond debt
that
attached
is
to
the
it.
stupidest thing I've heard. That is ridiculous. I can't believe they're doing that. I mean,
Yeah,
I
it's pure theft.
it really is like in Liberty County, we're like one of the poorest counties in Texas. And all of a sudden, the house I bought in 2020 was worth 140K. It's now worth like 257K. Haven't done shit to it. And they want to
Hmm.
increase our taxes. Like we were paying $1,000 a month for mortgage and taxes. Like life was good. And then within a day it went up to $2,500. And I'm just like,
Yes.
what the hell is going on? This is
Which,
ridiculous.
by the way, is another reason why you have to run group homes.
Yeah.
Because you can't rent these things out and make money. You
Not
have
single
to rent them
family.
out by the
Mhm.
bed or by the room.
Yeah, exactly. And it was crazy because when they did that increase, at the time, my husband was still, something happened with the assisted living he was working on. He had lost his job or some crap. So I was the main one paying for everything through the group homes.
Yeah.
I mean, God really got us on that because we'd have been screwed if it wasn't for group homes.
Yeah, I think it's just
Yeah.
so cool that like 4 or 5 years ago, you were just kind of like figuring things out, learning how to cash flow a little bit. And by a little bit, guys, we were talking like 10K a month. Just
Yeah,
if you guys
stipend,
remember.
tax free.
So she learned that, and now she's seriously considering retiring in a couple years. So
Most definitely.
that's the power of we're talking about the problems here, but that's how you get rich, by solving problems. So this is the power of providing lifeboats to the Titanic, or
Yes.
or sometimes even being the dolphins.
Yeah.
So like just as we were talking, and you guys could do this every single day. You can put in affordable housing crisis, go to the news, and look, just like an hour ago, Trump is considering declaring a housing emergency.
We've been in emergency Trump. You need to get with it.
Yeah,
I'm not for
for
the left
sure.
or the like we if y'all look up heartwarming living solutions on Facebook, I have a page. If y'all want to see real live action housing crisis, I deal with this every day. I post the different people we rescue. I mean, it's
Oh,
insane.
nice. Yeah, right here.
Yeah, another successful rescue for a senior. Like this lady she wasn't able to go into a homeless shelter, right? Because that's where the hospitals are doing. I don't know if I told y'all that. If the hospital can't find a place for them to go to, they send them to the homeless shelters. They just dump them. So I got a partnership with
And
all.
can you comment? I don't mean to interrupt, but before I
Yeah.
forget, can you comment about how these hospitals are just as bad. Same with these nursing homes. The minute
Oh,
that they can no longer bill for them is when they get rid of them.
yeah, they toss them to the curb, as we say in Spanish, basura. So they literally treat them like trash and they just throw them away. And like this lady, she got dumped at Salvation Army, and then Salvation Army was like, "Hey, we got another one. Can you come pick her up? We can't take her because of her medical problem." And I'm just like, she just has diabetes. What the hell are y'all talking about? So it's really bad. Like, there's not specialized shelters like the one I do in Cleveland, which is basically a boarding home that's a shelter, and we help them get back on their benefits. And that's through the nonprofit. So there's a huge need. This is a decent story. There's sad stories where we'll find a lady covered in feces where she can't walk because she was dumped by her daughter because her daughter can't deal with her anymore. And I mean, the hospitals literally don't care. And do y'all know most hospitals are like nonprofit? They don't pay taxes.
Which is total and complete bullshit because half of them are making, half the CEOs are making 14 million
Millions.
bucks a year and stuff.
Yeah, they're making millions off sick people.
Yep.
I really like our healthcare system is a joke. That's why I go to Mexico if I need stuff done.
Yeah, you get it.
Yeah.
Selling life jackets.
Yeah. How old were y'all when y'all first got into the business?
Oh, I've been doing this for basically 30 years.
Oh my gosh, you're like, so
Yeah.
you're
Yeah,
about,
so I say I'm rounding up, but yeah, basically 2000. So it's
oh
it's
my
it's been
gosh.
it's been a long time.
I
Yeah.
was in kindergarten in 2000.
Well, we've got a lot of youngsters that are doing. I mean, as we joke around about, this is like the oldest business known to man, or maybe the second oldest business known to man. But yeah, it's there's been a huge need for it for a long time, but each and every year that need grows bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yes, it is.
I started with real estate investing, and I think we kind of have similar risk tolerance, Evie. So I'm not
Mhm.
suggesting this to anybody. Do not do this. I was either going to be homeless or get a deal done. And I quit everything and gave myself like a month to get a deal. And luckily I got a deal. And
I love that. I'm a daredevil when it
yeah,
comes to business.
that is not that is not a suggestion or anything like that. Our gold course, we have very safe plan for people that don't have a high risk tolerance like me and Evie.
Yeah, I have a very high risk tolerance. My first real estate deal, other than buying my house, my grandma's home exploded in this crazy Watson explosion in Houston. I don't know if y'all remember that. It was back in 2020, the beginning of 2020. And I wholesaled like 4 homes in that neighborhood that all these homes got pushed off the foundation. So we probably made like over 250K off of a few homes for wholesaling because the homes were like pushed off the foundation. It was crazy. And I had no idea what I was doing. I literally just YouTube it. It was insane.
Yeah, same. I went through
Yeah.
the YouTube college.
So, I mean, I haven't got in trouble since, right? Hopefully I did it right. It's 2025. I haven't heard anything back from doing the wrong paperwork. But my model is if it becomes a problem, we'll handle it then. So, um,
Well, it's again we're tying it back to this. I think Evie is a great example, Andy. On the last podcast, you said something how eventually this kind of flattens and you don't really go into like the valley of despair. Like
Yes,
eventually,
once you've been through it a couple of
yeah,
times.
once you go through it, you're just like, yeah, this is nothing. Like if you heard the stories that Andy tells me like once a week, you guys would want to quit
I'll,
real estate.
I want to hear it. I want to hear it because I know I deal with the craziness in real estate every day.
It's all the same stuff. I mean, look, we've had I mean, I've had, fires at properties. I've had fires at properties that potentially the, city may have may have done. I mean, like, who knows? I mean, the list of stories is nuts. I mean, police, I mean, you name it, it's happened. Gunshots, people getting in gunfights, murders. I mean, crazy stuff. It just, I mean, again, we are dealing with human beings. If you're dealing with human beings, especially in affordable housing sort of environments, I mean, you're basically one step removed from a police officer.
Yeah. I feel like I have a crazy story that y'all cannot top with this one resident we had to work with in one of our shared living.
Let
Have
me
you
hear.
have y'all ever heard of Prader-Willi syndrome?
I have not.
No.
All right, so we're renting out a room in San Antonio to this lady with a son that has Prader-Willi syndrome. Prader-Willi syndrome, mind you, this is a grown-ass adult. He's just IDD, means like his IQ is lower, so his IQ is like of a fifth grader. Prader-Willi syndrome is your brain doesn't tell your stomach you're full, right? They will eat themselves to death, literally.
Like dogs.
Yeah, like they will eat themselves to death. And I love my Prader-Willi people out there, no offense to them. But there was a hamster missing in one of the shared livings. It was a lady and her son, and then there was other people just renting out
Whoa,
the
whoa, whoa, whoa. You are going to beat me. Okay, keep going.
I mean, when we were checking the cameras, we're like, who the fuck will steal a hamster? Right? Sorry if I cuss.
No, absolutely.
Guys, this man ate a hamster. He ate a hamster. Like, it was, I, like, we were looking at the cameras and I was just like, what the freak is going on? And I told my partner, and I was like, dude, how do we even, like, I mean, technically you can't kick them out for it because it's a disability. And like, there wasn't even, like the kitchen, it was very strict house, right? Like you couldn't even have the fridge. Everyone had their own fridge that had locks on it. Like it was a weird situation because of this guy, and he ate a freaking hamster. So
Did he barbecue it? Did he eat it
no,
raw? Like,
he
how did he
ate it
eat
raw.
it?
He ate it raw because his mom kept limiting him on his calories, and his mom locked up all the food because of Prader-Willi syndrome. You have to lock up the food because they don't know how to stop. It is the craziest, most horriblest type of like syndrome. This guy just,
I'm trying to like not make my skin crawl and not puke, but I
but
have a pretty solid I have a
yeah.
pretty solid joke. You guys, you live and you learn. You
So
tweak as you go along. So as you go through this, eventually you need to
you
update your agreement to not eat hamsters.
So
Oh my
definitely, I
gosh.
just like to educate people on this scenario so that way, because people don't know what they don't know. Because y'all just like Prader-Willi syndrome. Okay, yeah, they can move in. What's the big deal? There's special needs. Nah, they're about to eat all your shit. Watch out, even your hamsters.
Oh my
It's
God.
scary.
So
Eek.
guys, you guys are getting the good, the bad, the ugly. I love it. If look, if you can't get through, getting told no when you're making a couple of calls, right? How are you going to deal with your
A
people
hamster.
eating hamsters, These are the type of calls, you hear the numbers, you hear the real estate portfolio, you see the success, you see the news stories and stuff like that, but you got to be able to be kind of thick-skinned and be able to deal with stuff like this.
Yeah, thicker than a hamster skin, it seems like.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, this is amazing. Well, Evie, uh, been unreal. There was so much stuff we could have unpacked, right? So there's so much like logistical stuff and things like that. We'll definitely have to collab in the future here. Um, I think it's unreal. It's unreal that, just a couple years ago you were learning the gold course and stuff like that. And then as Andy always likes to say, people will kind of overestimate what they think they can do in a short period of time and
Yeah.
underestimate what they can do in a long period of time. So, uh, why don't you kind of let's close out because we are going. I know you guys are kind of short on time, and we're riffing. But like, where do you see like the future going? Uh, the future plans and kind of any parting words for the folks out there and then also definitely let people know where they can hear from you, because I'm sure they're gonna have more questions for you and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, most definitely. So definitely for the future plans, retiring in 5 years. And for now, I'm going to be building my empire, growing my nonprofit. And another thing that I started doing as of last year is really love helping people do this too. I love the licensing home of it, just because there's so much money you could make. And who doesn't want to make a lot of money and helping people, right? So that's the biggest thing I'm going to start working on more is the consulting part to teach people how to do the license homes. Just because there's so many different regulations in all 50 states. And then, yeah, in 5 years, I'm out. Evie's chilling in Mexico, chilling in Brazil with her kids, calling it a day. My nonprofit's still going to be open, helping people. We're still going to run our homeless shelters that we have. So life is good. I have no complaints right now. And then one of the easiest ways you could find me is on Facebook. I go live every Monday on my Facebook group. I'm really faith based on everything I do. So you could look us up. It's called Group Homes Step by Step. And then I also have a school community that's launching called Kingdom Builders in Business. Like I say, everything I've done was by God's guidance. So, also, I forgot to mention this, y'all. So, when I was going through the first unlicensed group home, I had a freaking stroke because I got the COVID vaccine and I was out for like 6 months,
You
handicapped.
know what I love about you is that you tell the truth. Like
Yes, no, most definitely.
you don't hold back, and I think that that is one of the most single important things to yeah to people's success. But I mean, what you just said is scary, but it's amazing that you're actually telling the truth.
Yeah.
I think it's crazy. I just think it's crazy how like you're completely unfazed. Like your first group home failed,
It
and
definitely failed.
you just skipped over it. You also were out with a stroke for 6 months,
Yeah.
and you completely forgot to even include that in your story.
But she also admitted what the truth, what the reason was behind it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's how many people in EVU see this in your consulting, I'm sure. Like
Mhm.
how many people treat, a bad phone call. They get deeper in the valley of despair than you
Oh my
did, like
gosh.
through a failed business.
Yes, I always on my consulting calls that we do every Tuesday with my mentees. I'm like, look, no negativity in this call. All right. What happened? This and this happened. Okay. So it's not that bad. Let's look at the positives. Let's redirect on how we approach this client. For one, let's give gratification. You have a client. Congratulations. Let's learn how to keep the client. Right. So yeah, it's definitely.
I,
I've
t-
gone
I
through the valley of death and came back.
Yeah, I was sorry to interrupt you, but it's just I needed to address that, the fact that you just forgot to tell us about being out of commission for 6 months due to a stroke. So,
Yes, that COVID shot messed me up. It was insane.
oh,
Well,
Definitely.
there's a lot of data behind that, and
Yeah.
it's something people are afraid to talk about. But I'm glad that you're actually willing to tell the truth.
Oh my gosh, most definitely. I mean, that
That
vaccine.
alone can help a lot of people.
Yeah, when I was pregnant, mind you this, I just gave birth in 2020. My son, I had COVID when I was pregnant with him. He came in, and I hate when they were saying, oh, COVID doesn't do nothing to the kid. My son came out developmentally delayed, messed up. They had to do surgery on him. He had respiratory failure at 6 weeks. That's why I said I started towards the end and beginning of 2020 to 2021 because my son was born in December. So, really, starting the group home gave me hope because it just made me feel like when I was seeing my son dying in the hospital that I'm gonna, push forward. Like, this is what I'm gonna do. Once we get over this hump, I'm gonna do this next. And So it's just a lot of perseverance and just not giving up, honestly. I think that's it. That's pretty much it. Anyone could be a millionaire, anyone can make money as long as they don't give up. I mean, that's the simple sauce. Everyone wants secret. What's the secret sauce? Don't give up.
I love that. I've realized this through like studying and ton of business
Mm.
podcasts and blah 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 self-help stuff, and that is the absolute one trait, the one common thing across every successful person in any endeavor, in any business, is that they didn't give up.
Yeah, don't give up. You keep going. You have you have willpower. I think everyone should take gratification that they woke up to another day. And especially where we live, right? Like I know if I'm first generation immigrant from my mom's side. She's from Honduras, and she grew up in poverty, eating worms, so because they didn't have any food. So like I know being first generation here in America, and that I have to be successful. There's no living off the government type of deal. Like um, yeah. No one's gonna save you, basically. So
Guys, I got a bolt.
yeah, no worries. It was nice
Hey,
speaking
Evie,
with you.
very nice meeting you. This was a great conversation. Brandon, thank you for setting this up.
Absolutely. And we'll definitely do like more podcasts or collabs or something in the future because there's
Cool.
just so
All
much
Yeah.
right. Thank you
stuff
guys.
we could dive in. Thank you, man.
Thanks. Bye.
Evie, same. I got to get going, and I think you do as well. I knew we were gonna go. We were gonna get rocking. So, um, yeah, like I said, there's so many other things we could get into. I'm sure that people are gonna have a ton of questions for you. They're gonna want to connect. So we'll include like the links in the descriptions on the podcast and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
sounds good. Group home step by step. Just inbox me on Facebook, Evie Valporto de Sa. I usually respond.
And then yeah, any parting words for the folks out there?
Don't give up. Everyone has an excuse. Just keep going. That's it.
I love that. Guys, if you want to connect with Evie, we'll have those links in the descriptions. If you're just, stumbling us on YouTube, go to grouphomeriches.com, sign up for that free content, the free 5-part course, free mailing list, a ton of game. Go through these YouTubes, brainwash yourself. We have a ton of stories. EVs is one of the most inspiring in a very long time. So treat this as almost like a milestone of the possibilities. And if it sounds like the right business for you, definitely bare minimum, get the gold course, group home, yeah, again at grouphomeriches.com. Get into our school group. And yeah, Evie, we talked about this in the beginning. You're like, hey, what do you guys look like? It's like, no, it's not about us. Group Home Riches is all about the success of our students, and we just love hearing stories like this, Evie. It motivates us to keep going and keep putting out content. And yeah, like we said, the more people you help, the more money you make. It's just a constant cycle, and we're providing those life jackets for everybody, right?
Yeah, most definitely.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on. We could have talked for hours more, but we definitely got to do that in the future for sure.
Yeah, most definitely. Y'all have a good one, everyone.
All
Bye.
right. Thank you so much. Have a great day.